live from Trinidad and Tobago.
Welcome to Connections 50 Plus Wednesdays live show.
I am Terri-Ann Joseph Brathwaite.
And I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone from the Caribbean, from Belize, right down to Puerto Rico, Antigua, Barbuda, and the corner. Come down. Special hello to St. Vincent. How you going?
Yeah.
How everything going? How is the ash? Oh Lord, Jennifer, that ash.
Listen, yes. I
Ash.
actually was reading today about the agricultural sector,
Mhm.
and it wasn't such good news at all. The ash has really created havoc,
Yeah.
for those farmers, definitely. Yeah.
That and I saw some video of people removing ash from their roofs. I mean,
Yeah.
and if the rain sprinkle, this is like moving wet concrete from your roof. And I can't. One lady was talking, she lived in the green zone, and
Mhm.
she was just lamenting that they need to be constantly cleaning with this ash, and just thinking, my goodness, if you lived in the red or orange, well, it can't be in the red, the orange or the yellow zone,
Yeah.
and then Barbados in the
Yes,
man, you there. We're with you, Barbados, St. Vincent, Barbados, St. Lucia, and the Grenadines, just everyone around that area.
all the surrounding areas, yes.
Special mentions to you. But we are here. Connections 50 Plus is here. It is Wednesday 21st. And all right, yes, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, and Guyana and Belize. We have been, as everyone knows, well, before I say that, I'm Terri-Ann Joseph Brathwaite, one of the co-creators of Connections 50 Plus.
And I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, the other co-creator of Connections 50 Plus. And of course, we welcome you to Connections 50 Plus Wednesday live show. Yeah.
I'm welcoming you on Facebook, on YouTube, and of course, throughout the Caribbean via Gael's channel. We've been having a great time all this last 3 or 4 weeks, Jennifer. We're coming to a crescendo. We've introduced you to our relaunch. You've seen our new logo. You've met the architects of our look and content. That's Zara and Richard. All right. And you have been hearing from us about why we chose our new logo, our touching hands, touching points everywhere. And then most recently, last week, we began to tell you all about our programs. And we talked about our life transition and self-care program last week. And we talked about entrepreneurship. And we also launched our video marketing.
Yes.
So Jennifer, we started talking about St. Vincent and the issue with ash. And we talked about the stress with the economy and so on. And I think that is such a beautiful segue to, we promised our last 2 products for today, the financial coaching and the health and wellness coaching, Jennifer.
Yeah, definitely. And these 2 programs are very, very, all the programs are critical, but financial and health and wellness, really at this time, we just spoke about St. Vincent, what is happening. So, the impact on the islands financially. If we thought it was bad with the COVID, with the pandemic, well,
yes.
Definitely the effects, almost financially, people will be saying, well, what can we do again? So we have
I don't think you're bothering with the pandemic again.
No, this is more critical, And then again, the health and wellness, you have to look at the health. I was reading with St. Vincent about the ash and the effect it will have on lungs, because people keep breathing in this ash. So yes, health and wellness and financial is critical at this time. And these are the 2 programs that we will be chatting with you, about.
And it's not only the breathing of the ash, it is when the rain falls, through that ash cloud, you have sulfur dioxide being formed,
Yes.
contaminating water and all kinds of things. But again, the Caribbean is one. So Jennifer, two programs, the financial coaching program, and you're our expert on that. So
Yes.
what exactly, why should someone going into 50 plus be concerned with or need financial coaching?
Yeah, let me say, first of all, many 50 plus, because they have, I say retired, some have retired, some may not retire, have retired as yet, but their thinking is, you know, at this stage, I don't need to save again. I saved enough. I have been saving. Now I don't have enough money to save, or I have so many plans, etc. I would normally start by letting people know, listen, whether you have money or you don't have money, you need to plan. Actually, if you don't have money, you need to plan more, you know, because you want to know what to do with the money. So at this stage, at 50 plus, you're going into a different, and we keep saying this, you're going into a different phase of life. So you would find your situation going to be different. Your situation will be different because you may have to look at your family situation, you know, who are going to take care of you, if anybody going to be helping you or financing any one of your loans, etc. So you need to look at your situation, because at this stage is when your income either going to be reduced or you're looking to reinvest in some type of business. And we spoke about entrepreneurship last week. So money is critical at this stage of life. So why you need financial coaching? Because you need guidance as to what your goals are, what your financial goals are. You need guidance to help you achieve those goals. You also need to look at your situation, because many times we have found that people may have a false sense of their worth, especially if you're near retirement from your organization. You may think that you may be expecting a certain amount of money. And the fact is, when you get your figures, it may not be that amount of money. You may also have these grand goals of paying off debts, going on a trip, buying a new car, refurbishing your home, etc., etc. But when you get that lump sum, if you don't know how to distribute or what to do with it, you can find yourself very quickly, sometime within a year of leaving that company, you may find yourself having nothing. Those who are still in the workplace, or those who decide to start a business, become an entrepreneur, that they also need to understand where to put that money, how to really allot that money, how to assign that money, whether you should put some into savings, some into emergency, some into investment, etc., etc. I have found, Terri-Ann, that many persons, we are dealing with 50 plus, but you know, prior to you could start money from age 20, where people really don't know about money management or don't manage their money effectively. So if you haven't been managing your money effectively for most of your work life, then you could imagine the situation when you get to 50 and you are looking at a whole new set of goals, you're looking at a whole new life stage, and you're not sure where to turn, as I say. And what I have also found is that that is also a panic stage, where you find people saying that, well, I don't have money. And Terri-Ann, if we look at the situation now, well, you're in that all the time. Jennifer, they say, Jennifer, you can say what you want. Where are we getting that money from? How are we going to achieve those goals? We can't even meet our expenses, etc. But let me tell you, if you sit and you deal with your reality and we look at your situation, definitely you're going to get that financial coaching, that guidance to take you to where you want to go. You may not get there within the time frame you want to. Initially, you might say you want to get there in 5 years, in 10 years. It may be longer, but definitely you would be achieving certain goals along the way.
Yeah. You know, Jennifer, when people talk about financial management, I think people deal with money depending on if you're on two sides of a coin. You see, those who have to make their money, whether they have a business or they have to sell the salespeople. You have a business and you have to get up every day and try and get people in that business, or you sell something for a living. You've come out of financial services. Those who know, if I don't make money, I don't sell, I don't have money, their whole approach to financial management and their whole perspective on money is fundamentally different to the salaried person.
Yes.
Who every month knows something is coming. And it's so easy to be lulled into a state of, because I could be totally reckless this month. In fact, I could be totally reckless for 5 months, be in debt, do all kinds of craziness, run up the credit card. But if I have a job, I know that I could begin to recover, and that certainty of that amount of money. I mean, some people, you'll be working for $3,000. That's $36,000 a year. That's $72,000 in 2 years. If you are conservative, you could end up with more money than a person who has $40,000 a month and being reckless. So I have found that the financial coaching, when you tell a person who is salaried about financial coaching, that person tends to be the one, I get the money, I don't have no money, or that's the person who really won't sit down and face their reality, because they get 30, 40 years of salary coming, month end, the whole concept of month end, the money coming. And they're the ones who get most jolted when they get close to retirement. And you know, they're the ones who 2 years before retirement or whatever, or 6 months before, they don't have a clue how much money they're supposed to get. But people who are in sales, who run businesses, they usually have a very good sense of where and what, and tend to be more measured. So, you know, do you agree that there's a difference in the two, and the approach to financial coaching with both sets would be very, very different?
I agree with you, Terri-Ann, and I have the advantage of being on both sides, because being a salesperson working strictly on a commission basis and having, you know, coach other salespersons, I understand that different with the salary persons. And very recently, Terri-Ann, you recall we did a coaching program, life transition coaching program, which involved the financial aspect of it. And as usual, and I'm saying as usual because it happens to us in most of our workshops, when we ask those salary persons, because these were people, employees who are actually leaving the workplace within a year. It varies time from
After
some
20,
2 months,
40 years.
and they have worked for years.
And they have no
And
clue.
we are in starting, of course, you ask the normal question. Do you know what your retirement income will be? And they don't. And without the figures, you could easily say, okay, you know, it will be at least 50%, right? And they say, oh, and you ask the other question. Have you looked at your budget? Have you looked at your expenses? Have you looked at your goals? What are your goals? And again, you watch somewhere along the line. I feel it's a very traditional thing. When people leave in a company and they get money, they think the first thing they go in is go on a trip. That's the first thing that comes to head, go on a trip without really working out what that trip costs. So yes, a salary person, because that they are used to, and I'm endorsing, you're quite correct, they're used to that comfort zone, that comfort zone they're in. When time comes and they have to think beyond, leaving that workplace, leaving that fixed income, getting, and again, they tend to rely on the NIS and the company pension to sustain them throughout their lives. And when we ask the question, okay, if you're going at 60 and we're looking very simple, next 20 years, taking you to 80, would that pension or NIS take you through the 20 years? Because most of the pensions, most company pensions are not tied into the cost of living.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it means that if you're leaving that company with $5,000, next 20 years, it remains at
$5,000.
And I am not sure, and I'm saying this since I know the NIS not going up by any measure at all. So a salaried person tend to just look at what they're getting presently as a change of mindset that is required. And unless you get that coaching, unless you get help to understand that, to make that switch, I should say, then you find yourself in difficulties. Whereas, of course, a business person, an entrepreneur, salesperson, who their income is based on how much they put out, their output. All right. And they push for that. So you find they budget accordingly, and they know they need to leave money for that rainy day, for that month or months that you don't make any profits, that things may be slow on emergencies. That is that's how they operate. That's their mindset. A salary person don't have that mindset. And from our experience and from my experience, they tend to wait until that very month.
Yeah.
That very month. Sometimes when they get that letter to face the reality, you know, and that's what happens.
I think one of the other things is far and apart from that month, because that's a whole crisis in and of itself, because most of the times people just end up staring at us like this, like, you know, what? I think if we step back a bit, you know, you said something that salespeople, business people have to do, budget. I have met very, very few salaried people who budget, who would know, all right, they say I'd spend on average $2,000 a month in the grocery. But if you go and you check their bills, it will be 1 month you do 4, next month you do 1, next month, and it's all over the place. And they have ideas in their head about what their expenses are, but they have no system for tracking, no system for control, no system to say, stop, you spent enough on this. And again, it's because they know next month the salary come in, and I could backfill, and I could go ahead and not sacrifice. I could continue to have what I want now. And when that person now faces the security barrier by the gate, and they're walking out, and there is no salary guaranteed, the habits, the spending habits that have been ingrained for decades, the permissiveness to children, to everybody, we'll do it, and I will sacrifice a little bit, and I will make up next week, or make up next month, or I run in the susu, or whatever it is. That to break those habits, I see for the salaried person, that is a critical, they definitely need coaching support, because first to just be aware, what are you spending every month on what? And can you stop? Can you control yourself? You know, I think those are critical issues.
Terri-Ann, I can give you I could give our audience so many stories about situations where, because of that, those poor habits,
Well, it's their habits. That's their life. You know,
they happen.
if
And
we
let me
take
tell
it
you,
over, it's their life.
when you listen to certain discussions on money and money management, the blame is always put on our education system. And people say that, they didn't learn that in school and they should teach this in school, etc., etc. But do you know, from time and from the different programs that I know that we have, the money management, the financial coaching program is the one people least tend to sign up for. Why? One, because they feel, I don't have money, and if I don't have money, why bother? What could you tell me to give me more money? One. Two, that fear of facing the reality that, listen to me, I might go there and I will feel shame and they will realize that I don't know what to do with my money, etc. So just imagine.
I think, Jennifer, there's a third. Some people are just totally clueless.
Yes,
They're just
yes.
unaware. So yes, there are the people who have no money, so have nothing to plan. And there are those who are afraid. But there are those who, from pure, and I use this in the true sense of the word, lack of knowledge. I just don't know what happens to my money, and I live from month to month. And they're the ones who fall off the cliff.
Yeah. So you are looking at, just think about it, and any psychologist will tell you how difficult it is to change a mindset to somebody who spent the last 49 years, or at least, from what we heard, 40 years of not doing certain things, and this is the time they need to understand that, listen, learn a lot of different things. When we talk budget, from the time you said the word budget, and we had to remove that word budget, and they say, how many of you will have a budget? You find everyone's cheered you, as Terri-Ann said, and they say, why do a budget? We know what we have to do. We know what we have to spend, etc. So we have to remove that term budget, especially at this stage. And within the financial coaching, my approach is, listen, you have to understand how you feel about money, because we are different. And you go back, and it goes right back to what you're used to. If you're used to spending, and in some cases, I'm smiling, some people are fortunate that they're being supported, that most of their income, their salary, they spend it on themselves, and they may have the support of a spouse or a son or daughter who have been able, because of their financial situation, just help out, and they didn't have to do anything, but the majority of people have to understand that, listen, this third act stage, I must go through that period of first understanding where I am, my spending habits, what I most likely, if you're a spender, if you're a saver, etc. And Terri-Ann, that comes with the financial coaching, and we have included, which has worked tremendously, is the financial assessment. So that's number one. That financial assessment helps the client, help me, to really understand your mindset, how you're thinking, where you may, what you tend to, what are your habits actually, and with that, then from there you can say, okay, I think with the assessment, with the report, it really puts that client at a stage where they more appreciate what they have to do. They understand themselves better, and they also understand why they need to have a plan in place.
Yeah.
So when we start with that, when I begin that coaching session, then it is much easier for it to flow. So there's no, you don't have to feel ashamed. There is no blame game. It's not that the company shouldn't, you always hear, The company should have paid you better. You thought your plan had more money. They should have told you that before, etc., etc. Many people also say, you know, if I had known all this information before, I would have started saving earlier. I would have put a pension plan in place, or other pension plan like the annuity in place, etc. So at that stage, you have to move forward. It's not making sense going back. And to move forward, the assessment report would be that guide to help the client move forward.
Yeah.
Then we take it from there, really to sit down will be the next step, Terri-Ann. What really are your goals? And not just financial goals, because your life goals, you know, many life goals need money. So we look at the goals and we look at your goals that need you to have that input of money, that lump sum or that monthly injection to really live the life that you want to live.
Yeah.
And that's the start of the financial coaching. Of course, with our program, we start with 3 sessions. So you start with the assessment, which, as I mentioned before, will help us, will guide you. And then from there, the first session, we discuss your goals, what you want to do, your present situation, because each person differs. All right. And when we have that, then say, okay, by that, then you know exactly how much money you have. So this should occur even before you start spending anything. Eh?
Well, even if they are the gate and they have none, the thing about it is
you
that
can still move off.
the past is in the past, and we started here. So you know, because sometimes if people look back, they stop and they give up.
Yeah.
And the news is that you shouldn't stop and you shouldn't give up. And even if the register is on 0 or in red, which most people are, that's okay. The thing about it is that going forward, you know, one of the important things, and you said it, Jennifer, there is a tendency to not take responsibility for self. So it's the company, it's the boss, it's the, and I would say, and I know people, listen, nobody, your busiest year in work is probably the last year. And the company really is not into getting you thinking about the future. So you end up 1 month ago and you don't know the NIS and you don't know the pension and you don't know the status of your savings. But these things are really your responsibility. They belong to no one else's. And in the same way, we say, if we are to build our 3rd act stage, if we are to write our scripts, because we are now designing a life for ourselves, first thing you have to do is take responsibility. And that's why all of our programs, as designed as they are the first step to you taking ownership of yourself, whether it is your self-care, whether you want to take care of your business, or as we say now, your financial position. And don't look to anybody else. You're going to be leaving the stage where other people took care of it for you. You have to do it yourself. And seeing that you never did it before, you need the help of a coach.
And Terri-Ann, let me share stories to our audience. And these are 2 really on the opposite end. This client, of course, because of the company, she had the opportunity to do the program. And when she did the assessment and I looked at it, a lot of the questions she could not have answered, because when we met, more or less 0. In her case, the salary was small. She had no money saved, etc., etc. And when I spoke to her, her initial reaction is, I don't even need any coaching because I don't have anything with the coaching. She said, I have absolutely no money. I was working on minimum, more or less. I have a lot. So that's okay. But when we sat and we chatted, in chatting with her and listening to her, understanding her goals and looking at the assessment report, we were able to say, okay, this is what you can do. Keep the goals in front of you. Of course, make it realistic, but this is what you can do. You look at the talent, you can do this, you can do that. And she was so excited because she recognized sometimes, and I grew up hearing that it's not so much of how much you have or how much you earn, but what you do with it.
Yes.
What you do with it. All right. So we were able, even though she hasn't left the workplace yet, but in working with her and looking at even at that small income aligned with her goals, she was very excited and she understood it wasn't about money and how much money you're earning, but what you're doing and what you could do. And this is where Terri-Ann, and you would know that in terms of her going into a little entrepreneurship, doing little things where she could make and sell, the guidance from the entrepreneurial training will come in. So yes, so even for those who may be watching on and saying, hey, they can say anything, we have no money. Financial coaching is not about that. It's about looking at your situation. And let me tell you, we're going to find the money somehow, or take that little money. I always say I can multiply, you know. And the other situation is someone who I would say extremely comfortable in terms of meeting the expenses and has been able to acquire, I will say, well, but has certain things that to make them comfortable. And their reaction was, one reaction was, why do I need a financial coach and I have no money, which was the one I just spoke about. And this one is, why do I need financial coaching? I have everything. I'm okay. I'm comfortable. Again, in chatting, looking at the assessment, etc., may be comfortable in one way, but you see some gaps, and the gaps come in with your goals.
Yeah.
Because they're comfortable, but they would like at the later stage and the third act stage to be even more comfortable. But again, less income coming in because that particular client don't want to work. They can live, they feel they can live on their investments and they put things in place. But there are other aspects that when you look at and you discuss, they realize what happens if something wrong with your spouse dies or disabled, etc., etc. Because let me say, I always say disability is worse than death in some cases when it comes into financial, right? So when I looked at the situation, at that client's situation, understanding, yes, they have, but when we look at the other side, when you have to put things in place for emergency or your goals, you may think your goals may be this one time, but when you do that projection, what may have been 10,000 today in next 5-6 years when you're ready for it might be minus 10, you know? So things like, and that is where the financial coaching comes in. So whether you have or you don't have, you need that financial coaching.
And I think for everyone where once you're going into a space that you're not accustomed to, you have to break a habit. And maybe it's a habit of plenty and I can do what I want. But listen, you're going into, as you said, a new stage in life. It's going to be different. Or whether you're going from salary to salary and my boss or my job there, you're going into now self-sufficiency.
Yeah.
That breaking those habits is what is critical. And that is where our coaching comes in. And we're really, really happy. Hopefully next week you will be seeing our ads. You saw the video marketing ad last week, and you'll be seeing the ads that will explain financial coaching more.
Yeah.
But Jennifer, I am looking at, we having a good time talking. We've been talking for 30 minutes. Okay, Miss Lady.
Wow.
But just as we, we look at, we talk about the 3 buckets of life. We talk about caring for yourself. We talk about making sure your financial is organized, and we talk about the community. And we have our products lined up. There's the self-care, self-transition, there's financial coaching, there's entrepreneurship. But the underlying all of that, we have to be okay.
Yeah.
And very often when people hear health and wellness, all kinds of things come up. all kinds of things. You think some people think about emotional health. Some people think about go to the doctor and get your medical, check your sugar, check your cholesterol, check your weight, check your all kinds of things like that. But you know, when we say health and wellness, we look at the ability, where is your baseline now to be able to go forward and carry out the plans that you have, that you would have exposed with your life transition, with your entrepreneurship, and with your financial coaching. You have the plans and you could do this or you can't do that. Now, can your body carry you there? And a lot of us just don't pause to answer that question. Not so, Jen? You know?
Definitely. Health and wellness at 50 plus. Wow, Terri-Ann. That
you talk about a new stage, your body going to change.
Before to get on that stage, for me, number one is that health and wellness. I want to know that my body, because I have at least 20 years, remember we say, for those who go in earlier is more than that. I'm saying 70, say 80, but you know, it could be 30, 40 years again. Terri-Ann, we don't want, it's like having a old car, like my car, and you have to keep checking on it. You have to make sure.
You have to get a new mechanic. The mechanic that dealt with the car when it was new.
I'm telling you.
If you keep in the car, you have to get a new mechanic.
The decision you want to know, listen, if you have to keep going, you need to understand yourself. You need to understand your body. You need that expert to sit with that expert to tell you, listen, what foods, what will energize you? What would keep you healthy? What you have to eat, how you have to exercise, etc. And Terri-Ann, I mean, you're a great example of that because, I mean, I definitely started, and we have Maria, as you know, Maria Elias Smith as our nutritionist, as our fitness coach, as our dietitian, you know. And with Maria, I started actually, that's how I met Maria. From day one, I realized, hey, I need to understand being hypertensive. At this stage in my life, I need to understand, I know it's so important in terms of exercise, in terms of how you eat, you know, in terms of what you do, the choices you make. And Maria definitely was able to guide me, thank God, up to today. You know, I drink a lot of water. I remove, you know, because of Maria, I remove all juices and soft drinks and everything from my fridge. Now, I can do that because I
listen to her, right?
I don't have.
She has no food fun.
Family around to say where the juice and where the soft. And those who visit me, if I don't have visitors, I'll go and buy. Actually, right now, I still have 2 packs of juices and some of the other soft drinks from the line I had for my birthday. I keep watching it. I had about 4. I gave away 2. And I watching this one, I say, you know what? I think I would give that away too. You know why? Because I'm not going to be tempted. But because of Maria, Terri-Ann, I would just have 2 glasses of water for the whole day, which is so bad. Now I have the water there. I keep drinking water because I need it too. And you know what it says, as you get older, you need to drink more water. Yeah. Without that professional advice, Terri-Ann, I don't know how I would have managed my health. I'm not in perfect health, but I'm telling you, I'm trying my best to do all the things that I have to do. And I go, you know, I walk all the time, you know?
You know, just as we talked about money, you have people coming from finances from 2 points. Yes. You have, as I said, the salaried people with the habit of, I'm going on okay. And then you have the people who have to make their money, who are salespeople or business people, and they know they have to, they see the effort put in for every single dollar. I think with wellness, people come at it from 2 angles also. There are people who come at it because you have a problem. You have what they call it a NCD. And now the word is comorbidity or non-communicable disease or some state of disease, and it is usually hypertension, blood pressure, diabetes, kidneys, obesity, all the things that you are not well, and from a position of fear to preserve life, you go to, let me fix this. And I don't know whether that will be aligned to the salaried person or the salesperson. But then you also have on the other side persons who, I going good. I have nothing that is overt, that is there. But, and I think I put myself in that camp where I am aware that this body has been going for 59 years. It has to go for another. And you're also aware of the changes in your body.
Yeah.
Now, I am a foodie. You see what Jennifer just described?
Yes.
Don't tell me stop taking anything. I'm not going to listen to you. I'm not going to listen to you. I have had my consultations with Maria, and we sat down and she's understood my journey. I love to experiment. I went on a trip somewhere and I wanted to go and look for the scorpions to eat and the cockroaches. And my friend who was traveling would say, you mad? I want to eat the cockroach. I want to taste the cockroach. That is fun. At least one, let me know why I don't like it. So a person who is not coming from a position of there is something that is at risk for me, something that I need to be careful of, knows that, hey, I've got to make sure this body can still go. Let me be proactive in finding out what can happen and how I can still enjoy the things that I enjoy. And what I have found with my consultations with Maria is that she was able, my love of food. Yes, I could lose a little 20 pounds. Don't start with that conversation. If you start with that, I'm walking out. My 20 pounds are the evidence of the life I've had, the wonderful life I've had. But seriously, what I appreciated was being able to sit down, understand what different foods are, what they do for me. Don't tell me that when I go out, I have to drink 2 glasses of wine. I'll watch you like, are you mad? And I'm not an alcoholic, but 2 glasses of wine, we now started, you know. But because I have been able to sit with her, and the assessment does this, she can sit and look at you describe what you eat. And we're only talking about the nutrition side of it now. And she is able to point out what nutrient deficiencies exist, what you're probably overdoing a bit. And with that information, I have made for myself decisions about modifying how I eat some things. And when I indulge, I know what I'm doing, what is the consequence. And like the salaried person, I could backtrack and fix it. And one of the things that I really appreciated looking at this is that in doing that analysis of what I eat and how I eat and where I eat and how I prepare foods, I have been able to get even more adventurous with my food love, my foodie life, even more adventurous. And one of the things that it has put me into in terms of understanding the quality of food is it has set me off on the Richter scale with gardening and how I garden and how I buy food and what I buy. So, you know, the thing is, just like money, you take your health. I think people who don't have comorbidities take their health for granted, and it is a dangerous thing. You don't have the hypertension or the diabetes or the kidney problems to keep prodding you, and you could take things for granted and things could sneak up and harm you significantly if you don't have information.
Terri-Ann, you're quite correct with that. Because, and the other thing, and I learned that from Maria too, is as you get older, sometimes your body changes. Huh?
Mhm.
And you may find, and they have situations like that, where people, you find in the morning, they can't even get up.
Mhm.
They say they have been good all the time. They never suffered from anything. But what they have been putting into their bodies all the time, they're not aware that that may have been affecting, as you said, your kidneys, etc., etc. So when you notice and you're good in good health,
Mhm.
but you go and you find all these things that what you may be, your body might be prone to, and the type of things that you may be prone to, it makes a big difference in how you're moving forward with eating. Like I'm aware, you know, people say, but Jennifer, you look good, you feel good, etc. But I know, unlike Terri-Ann, I can't sit down and have no more than one glass of wine. Right? If I have by the second glass, I know that's my limit. They have certain things. I have a girlfriend, very good. I think she's more Terri-Ann side of very foodie, etc. We go out, dessert is her thing.
Mhm.
I mean, the sweetest ice cream, all the fancy things they have. I can't touch it. If it's too sweet, I can't meet. So you adjust, and again, when you compare the health and wellness coaching against the financial coaching, it starts with mindset, Terri-Ann.
Yeah. And I think
So it's
information.
about changing that mindset and making your responsibility, taking responsibility.
I think I prefer to say taking responsibility,
Yeah.
because if I and what the wellness assessment does, it really, it's in two parts, and we're just talking about the food part right now.
Yeah.
It really gets you to say, all right, what do you do? And the focus is not on ban this, don't do that, do this.
Yes.
It's on understanding
Mhm.
how what you are putting into you on a regular basis may help, hinder, or harm you. And
Yeah.
concrete recommendations as to what can be done, notwithstanding your lifestyle. So yes, if
Yes.
you are hypertensive, diabetic, have kidney disease, or what, cardiac issues, yes, you have to not do some things. But if you're on the other side and you're looking to have a long life, then if you know you sit down and you drink 3 bottles of wine, I'm not confessing. If you drink 3 bottles of wine, then you have to cut it down and probably get to 1 bottle of wine in a sitting. And you probably say, all right, I'll get there in 3 years' time. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't drink 3 bottles of wine in a sitting.
But you know, the awareness is important. I totally
Awareness.
agree. The awareness is important.
It is done. And you know, I'm looking at our time and want to make another point. The other thing that is very different about ours is that Maria, in addition to what you eat, which deals with your cellular structure and so on, is, listen, you see, movement.
Yeah.
If you cannot move, if
Mhm.
you don't have muscular strength and flexibility, you can't move. You might have good joints, but if you don't have
Yeah.
muscular strength and flexibility, you can't move. So we include in our assessment right there, you get 5 tests to check your balance,
Yes.
your muscular strength, your flexibility, the strength of your core, and you get a baseline that tells you, hey, are you able to keep yourself erect and move yourself forward, back, side to side? Because if you can't do that, you could have
Yeah.
all the money in the world, the best pension, you could have a huge business, you
Yep.
could be very clear about where your mind is and all your plans, and your family and loved ones could be all around you. But if you are in poor health or unable to carry yourself and are dependent on others, or even if you have a limitation, but you are not best able to help yourself, you would be in trouble. And that is the essence of our health and wellness assessment.
Definitely, because I must add, and I'm hearing my way in my essay, as we grow older, we lose muscle. So that is, you know, these are things that we have to be aware of. And without this assessment, without having a professional there telling you these things, you wouldn't know that.
Yeah.
You know, you may first feel that you can no longer lift up, they push this tool or lift up a box, and you don't know why. But the thing about it is, there are things that you can do to build back that muscle and to strengthen.
Yeah.
And these are things that I would not have known, Terri-Ann, if I didn't go to Maria and have those sessions.
Yeah.
No?
No, that's the thing. So we are Connections 50 Plus, and we are at the end of a part of our relaunch because you've seen our new logo, you know what we're about, you've seen, you understand our 3 buckets of self, money, and community. And then we've introduced you to 5 of our critical products. And if we remember, they are the self-care and life transition. There is the entrepreneurship. There is the financial coaching. And there is the wellness. And then last week, you were introduced to our video marketing program. Okay. So listen, Tony, as the people would say, the rollout continues. Next week, Jennifer, we are going to premiere our big video and have all our people with us talking about where we're going. And then we have some other big news to come, but you'll hear that next week. Yes, Jennifer.
No, it's great. And it's know that we are there for you. We have created all these new programs, individual programs, because many people don't like to be in groups. And now it's even better because when we created those programs, we didn't have the pandemic in mind. Now, and it's all, virtual, individual virtual programs. And we look forward that each area is a critical area for the 50 plus.
Yes. You'll have the link on the screen. Just go to our website and go onto the programs page.
Yes.
It's connections50plus.com/programs, and you will see all of our programs. Jennifer and I are committed to making sure that we are able to build a sturdy stage. And when we finish building the stage and writing the script, we can go onto the stage and have a good time for a long time.
Right. And it's a 5.8 G stage, from 50 to the 80s.
To the 80s, definitely. So, listen, this has been a great conversation. Life continues, notwithstanding the pandemic. Jennifer, a small word. Our numbers are spiking throughout the Caribbean.
Yes.
The numbers are spiking. People, keep the windows open. Fresh air, social distance, wear your mask, sanitize, keep clean. And let's be our brother's keeper. Okay? And
don't panic.
Absolutely not. Okay. So see you next week, everyone.
Okay. Bye.
50 Plus Tribe and follow us from TNT and the Caribbean.
Thank you for joining us on this Connections 50 Plus Wednesday Alive show.
We hope you enjoyed the lively conversation and look forward to seeing you next week.
Don't forget to like and share our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
We really love getting your feedback. Bye for now.